Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mentor Monday, October 10. And it is good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for those we have people from Colombia and South Africa. And thank you to our great leaders and mentors, Dave and Gabie Daughtrey. Today, the topic from the theme of October, which is the leader in you, we are going to touch on overcoming objections, which is such an important one always. So I'll start with Gabie. Gabie, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Great, Gabie. It's Thanksgiving in Canada, so it's a great day to be thankful. And I am so thankful for you and Dave and the time that you give our teams to mentor us and to give us your wisdom. So I want to pick your brain a little bit with overcoming objections, Gabie. I always find, I'll just do like 2 or 3 questions that I have and that will help us through the conversation. I always think that you're very self-confident. So I always think, well, it's easy for Gabriela Daughtrey. She's so beautiful. She walks like she knows the walk and she talks the talk. So what would you recommend for people that are a little bit more shy or quiet? And by the way, Gabie is a little shy for people that don't know, but she just doesn't show it. So that's why I want her to touch on this subject. A lot of the times, we're very shy, especially about introducing a product or introducing our business or even introducing ourselves. And so what would you recommend for the shyer kind, how to introduce the business or the product to someone when they're on the shy side? Because you already are thinking, oh, the person's going to say no. Oh, I am so nervous. And so you're already kind of blocking this, and it makes you even more shy and scared. So what would you recommend for people to be a little more relaxed and free about this situation?
Well, for me, it's simple. When I'm doing or trying something, let's say this skincare, right? When people see, first of all, you have to reflect what you sell. A lot of times you do. But when you have a testimony of a product, it's easy for anybody to say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is because you already experienced it. You already know how good it is. Me personally, I don't know every ingredient in our aqua line. You know, that's why we have our 4Life app. I have to get out of the Connect app because we no longer have the Connect app here in the US. In some places in the world, it's still available, but we have the 4Life app. And if somebody wants ingredients, just send them a PDF of the ingredients. It's so easy nowadays. So you don't have to know every ingredient we have in our products, but when you know, oh my gosh, I love our skincare. Dave, every night, I put it on my arms, on my hands, on my feet. Sometimes I put a little T-force in there on the bottom of my feet with this lotion every night.
Puts it on my hands and feet too.
If I'm not too tired, I'll put it on his hands and feet too. But he's always saying, your skin is so soft. And I go, you're the only man that says that. Because he's the only one that feels my legs and my feet anyway. But anyway, there's a testimony there. Our lotion is incredible. You can share it anywhere. So that's my take on being confident about something you know about. That's what I mean. Know your product, know what it does for you. Maybe Claudia, you have another testimony on the product that I'm using. And we share with each other what it's done for us. So when you know your product and you know what it does for you, it's easy to tell people, use this product. Believe me, here in the US, there's a money back guarantee. If you don't like it, you get your money back here in the US. But anyhow, do you have any other questions?
Yes, no, I really like this example that you use because it really is the easiest one for us as women. So I just want to say it's not as easy for men in the sense of the lotion, but Gabby gave us a great point. And I think, like I said, it's mainly for ladies because you can walk around with a jar and it's like a security blanket. So instead of thinking people are going to tell you no, and you're not going to be able, no, you pull out your hand cream and you are talking about something that you know and that you love. It gives you confidence. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have not even shown you how great this cream is. And you just put it on somebody's hand and say, look how it smells. And you can do that with, like Gabby says, without feeling nervous, and you can put it on man and they can rub it and smell it, and you know it doesn't look like you're flirting or anything. You say, look, you have very harsh hands, your wife will love it. So because a lot of the times we feel that we can only do it with men. Now it's a little bit different for men to try and give cream to women, but they can do it with, you know, a chewable transfer factor, or Dave can give us some ideas of what he uses to talk about product, but it is more of using a security blanket. So Gabby gives us two examples. First, know your product. Use a PDF. Use your 4Live app. Use the product if you have it. So there's a lot of good ideas going there about being prepared to overcome that objection, because you know it's going to come, and you know that something they're going to say. Now, the one I want to add is be prepared for the objection. And so we can spend 3 hours on how many objections there are. And I think Dave will help us a lot on his second segment, which is prepare a couple of answers that you will have ready when the objection comes. So we already know a lot of the objections. I don't have, oh, you can write them. I want to coach. I don't want to teach. What are some of the objections that we get? Can you write them, or maybe even raise your hand? I haven't taken off mics. What are 3 of the top
Write any objection in the text. I'd like to see what objections.
Yeah. Can you
many of
please
you come across.
write the objections? Because when Dave goes into his segment, he's going to touch a specific on that. And he's also,
when I hear worldwide is the product is too expensive.
okay.
And I'm like, that's an easy one for me to answer. Okay. That's when I get like, oh my gosh, the product is a little pricey.
So what do you say, Gabby? Let's start writing them down. I want
When affiliates tell me that that's one objection people give them, I say, I would answer back. I said, what is your health, your investment in your self-worth? I mean, if it's something you can buy, let's say a drugstore in their country, they're never going to get the quality of products we offer. And these are products that are scientifically studied and proven. And I mean, David Lisenby will not let us use a product that has not gone through all that. I mean, like some of our products have gone like one of the latest ones from last convention, the gold product, it went through 10 years of research. Our gold product, I mean, it's one amazing product, and I use it every day. I mean, I order enough bottles for everyone to take at my family, because I even though it's a product, it's a unique product. First of all, I've Googled products like that, and I haven't found any other company that really has our gold product. And I've been giving it to some of my friends that are going through some health issues, and it is really making a difference in their health. But I mean, that's one of the answers I would give to people. What is your health worth? If I could tell you, you could turn back the clock. I mean, every time I get a facial, lately I've been getting a lot of facials with different people. They say, oh my gosh, your skin is so nice. Other than my melasma, but I mean, they tell me the firmness of my skin, everything's good. And I attribute it to the collagen, to the gold, to the vitamins I'm taking, to the skincare, to transfer factors. And I mean, you reflect the use of your product. I cannot talk to somebody if I don't look the part. Okay, so anyway, that's my take.
Very, very good. So I'm going to do one more with Gabby, and then I'm going to let Dave start working on answers because it's already 1:20. And so I wrote some of the ones that I like, and I have already some in that chat. Very good, Beatrice and Janet and Mercy. So everybody keep writing. And so let me just ask Gabby one more. So overcoming objections is let's talk about why do you think people are afraid of speaking about the business? So let's leave the product aside. And so why do you think, and this is a good one for you, Gabby, and later Dave. So most of the time we go, and you and I do a lot, we gear towards product is easier, but what do you think is the most important fear, or what is the fear that people have about talking about the business? Why people are afraid to talk about the business?
Well, our business has a stigma of, oh, it doesn't work, you know? And I mean, I've personally, you know, me growing up, my mother was she sold Avon, she sold Amway. And I mean, she sold with her friends from work, and she just made enough to buy the product. Really, she wasn't big time. So yes, you know, you have to talk to a lot of people to, I mean, let's say you talk to 3 people a day, times that by 30 days. You may be able to sign up 3 people out of all those people, you know, but at least you're putting the little seeds out there. You know, you're as far as the business goes, people want to see results. They want to see you driving maybe a nicer car, living maybe in a nicer house from what they originally knew you know, when they first met you. And a lot of times it takes results for people to start listening to you. But that's why you, like Dave always says, use other people's stories. You know, that way, you know, you don't have your results yet, but you see others do. And, you know, when Dave and I first met and I was telling people what Dave did, they would always say, oh, it's that pyramid scam thing. I would feel bad because at that time, I didn't know how to explain the business to them. I didn't know what I know now, how I know how to explain it. That was like, what, 25 years ago? You know, when I first met Dave. How long has it been? Anyway, but, you know, obviously you don't want to have a conversation about something you're not experienced with. So the best thing you can do is basically say, you know what, these are the results that other people have been getting. And that's why I'm in this business, because I love the business opportunity. I'm making $100 more a month now, and you have no idea what $100 more a month can do for someone. You know, I mean, if you put it aside every month, you'll have enough for something nice. So that's, if that answers your question.
It did a lot. And why I did it before I jump to Dave, thank you, Gabby, give everybody a big round of applause, is because I see that a lot of the objections that are coming in, and I understand that, you know, we lead, and especially in Africa, a lot with product, is that we also want to make sure that we are able to support you as a team in the objections that you get when you're talking about the business. And so that's why I wanted to start with Gabby, because Gabby and I are more product oriented. But now that Dave is going to come in, but I see that the topic, Dave, I don't know if you noticed, continues to be product. And I want some people to tell me the objections they get when they're offering the business. That's number one. And number two, are you offering the business? Because I don't see any objections coming in for business. Except, let's read some. Janet says, it's too expensive and it doesn't work. Let me just take my fruits and veggies. I love that one. And then Bansi says, I have been taking traditional herbal products, so I don't need your products. I'm already very healthy. That's for sure. Then Janet says, people will say something like, I react to supplements. Or Beatrice says, I don't like supplements. I love Yvonne. Let me talk to my doctor first. And then Nellie jumped with her first one. for business, which is I don't have time. And that's probably the number one that I would get. People are like, I don't have time for that. And Dr. Gina says, you're a doctor. That's why it works for you. I'm not. So therefore, people won't trust me. And so, of course, I think that sometimes we think it's easy because he's a doctor, and maybe even more difficult for Dr. Gina because he said, people are like, you're an important person. People listen to you. Of course, it's easy for you. People will say that to Dave. Oh, you're Dave Daughtrey. You're Gabriela Daughtrey. Of course, you talk to everybody and they all say yes. And so I like that one, which is what happens when people will say something like that. So no, Gabriela, it's not an answer. It's his objection that he's bringing to Dave. So Gabriela on the phone got a little confused. She thinks it's an answer. Gabriela, read it again. It says, Dr. Regina, people will say, well, Dr. Regina, you're a doctor, so it works for you, but I'm not a doctor. So therefore, people do not trust me. So with that, I added some that I think they've already read. I'm not a good salesperson. And I've tried that kind of business before and it didn't work for me or for my aunt or, for my mother or my grandmother, or I have to speak to my wife first. I like that one. No, they push you to the side. Oh, I got to talk to my husband first, or I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time, et cetera, et cetera. So there's just so many. So now I'm going to give the mic to Dave so he can educate and mentor us on overcoming objections. Dave, and if you have questions, please, you can put them in the chat or raise your hand at the end, and Dave will do some coaching with you.
Thank you, Claudia. And thank you everyone for joining in today. Gabby, thank you for your words and insight. Gabby, she never had experienced this business before. She comes from a traditional, having a job, being a manager at a vision center and eyeglass center. And so I think that as I look here at all of these chats you've put in here with objections and so forth, there's a couple things that to me come to mind that are so important. Attitude and mindset. All right. Especially Dr. Ogina's that he put there, somebody would tell him, well, you're a doctor, Dr. Ogina, you're a doctor. That's why this works for you. I'm not a doctor like you. Therefore, people won't trust me. That's just attitude. That's just mindset. You think that. That's not the truth. But here's the funny thing. What you really think becomes your perception. And your perception then becomes your reality because you created it. That's like saying, well, I'm too late. Well, if you think it, then you're right. I'm too early. If that's what you think, then you're correct, or I'm too broke. So all these things, it really comes down to what an individual thinks. So many times I try to get in their head. When I'm talking to someone, I literally try to think, like they're thinking, get in their head a little bit and understand them. Take an interest and understand. I've come across every objection imaginable. Who knows, maybe another one will come up one day. But in 41 years that I've been networking, I hear it all. And the first thing that comes to my mind, and I have to be careful sometimes because I don't want to blurt out what I'm always thinking. All right. For example, when somebody throws an objection at me, like I don't have any time or I'm broke. In my head, I'm thinking, and you want to live the rest of your life that way? If you're that way now, what's going to change in the next year or 5 years or 10 years? If somebody asks you something or gives you an opportunity 5 years from now, what's going to change? I mean, we all know, everybody knows that if you want something to change, then you can either wait for it to change, which ain't going to happen, or you can make it change. All right. So we have to take the initiative to make a change. So I try to provide people an opportunity, a vehicle to make change. Now, Claudia made a point. A lot of what we're seeing here is about products, right? I love our products. They're incredible products. We've got high impact products like the energy, that people take it right away and they can tell a difference when they take it. We've got products for systems of the body, from lungs to cardiovascular, nervous, reproductive, incredible, scientifically based products. Okay. I love them. But my goal is to try to get that person to become a consumer, use the products, and get them into my business, get them to start sharing it as well. But I also understand there's a bit of a process to this. People generally are not willing to share something unless they feel good about it. They just don't want to look like a fool. So they want to try the product and so forth, which is fine. But let's go through a couple of these here real quick. I'm going to start up here where we've got okay, let's talk about too expensive. All right, that's the first one from Janet in Katali. When somebody says too expensive to me, that tells me that they don't see the opportunity. They're looking at just buying product, right? Well, what I generally try to tell that person is, what if I showed you a way that you could get your product for free? If I showed you a way that you can make money with this opportunity, okay? There's a lot of things out there that are expensive. Now, let's take, in my head, I'm thinking this way, automobiles. There's a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, and then there's a Volkswagen or a Toyota Corolla. Big difference in prices, but people have them. People have Mercedes-Benzes. People have BMWs, all right? So when I talk to people, I tend to just think this way. Our energy product, you're talking, I don't know what it is in Kenya. If somebody wants to put the price of it there, I'd appreciate it in the chat. What's the price of a box of berry go sticks in Kenya? Okay. You probably have something called Red Bull. Does Red Bull exist in Kenya? I'm sure. I'm curious. If somebody wants to give me a thumbs up or in the chat, Red Bull is quite popular in many countries around the world. Red Bull is an energy drink. All right. It's about $2.59 for one little teeny can of Red Bull. And they sell like crazy. Red Bull sponsors athletes around the world and so forth. People drink. You guys heard of Red Bull, haven't you? Cloud, have you heard of Red Bull? I would hope you've heard of Red Bull.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I see Anna
very,
nodding her
very,
head.
very popular here in Canada. Very popular and very expensive. And they sell it in all the gas stations.
Yeah, all the gas stations all over the place. People drink Red Bull. Okay. But my point is this. When you really break it down and compare, most people want to talk about expensive or Starbucks. They'll go spend money at a Starbucks. All right. Well, for one day at Starbucks, you could have transfer factor, or you could have you'd be using one of our products instead of the Starbucks. So many times it's about replacing something you're doing with something we have. You see? So when it comes to expensive, I like to talk to the person and say, well, what if I showed you a way that things just wouldn't be as expensive anymore if you're interested in building a business? I always try to gravitate towards the business, all right? Because people, let's face it, most people out there need to make a bit of extra money, and I can show them how to do that. Now, it's a reality of life that there are classes, lower class, middle class, and upper class, all right? Last night, Gabie and I went to a concert, okay? We saw some of our friends. They have a band called Air Supply. You might have heard of them, all right? Well, when I was sitting there in the audience, I looked around. Now, because they play love songs from the 80s, most of the people that were there were pretty close to my age, in their 50s and 60s. And I looked around, and I would say that those people were all either upper middle class or close to upper class. Anybody there in that venue could easily afford to buy our products. Anybody, all right? So there are people out there that will buy the products and they won't do the business because they have their career. They whether they're an engineer, they're a lawyer, they're an accountant, they're a doctor, they're a dentist, they've got their career that they do, all right? Well, they'll buy the products. There's a lot of people out there that will buy our products. If it weren't so, we wouldn't be doing $500 million a year of business, you see? So again, that is just an excuse. And the way my head thinks, when it comes to business, you can either make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. One or the other. That's just the way I think. All right. So when I talk to people, I think that my mindset, the way I approach that person, plays a very big role. Now, let's talk real quick about, there's another one here, time. Yeah, don't have time. Again, in my head, I'm thinking, and you want to live the rest of your life with no time? But I'll tell somebody this if they say they don't have any time. If I showed you a way that you could buy your time back, would that interest you? If I could show you a way that you could literally duplicate your efforts by working with a team of people, people are already doing this all around the world. Would you just be willing to open your mind for 60 minutes at the most and just listen? You've got nothing to lose except 60 minutes, or this could change your life. It could change your life. Would you be willing just to listen? And so I try to get them to step one, just listen. Nothing to lose, everything to gain, you see? But the whole time thing, I get that too. I'll get that as well. I don't have time. What about leverage? I would tell someone this. Have you ever thought about leveraging your time? And then they'll look at me. It's always nice to ask someone a question that puzzles them a little bit. A question like, what do you mean? Well, they'll come back because they're curious. We say, you leverage my time. What do you mean leverage my time? Let me show you, okay? In the business that I'm involved in, you see, the only way I can grow is by helping other people grow, by working with other people. We're doing this all around the world. So you know people I don't know. I would like to share this with them. So all you have to do is invite someone to the table and I will do the talking. We do events, we do rallies, we do meetings, these Zoom calls we do. Imagine this. Let's say there's a few people on your team, but you can't make it to the Zoom. You've got something going on. You're busy with your kids. You don't have a lot of time. Well, that may not be the same for the people that you've on your team. You might have people on your team that they're hungry. They want to build, they want to go, they want to get up to, making money and so forth. Just because you're the one that shared this with them, you will earn a residual income for the rest of your life, you see? And now all of a sudden you start buying your time back because it's strength in numbers, the process of duplication, you see? So when I talk to people, again, I try to talk a bit about leverage. Now, I've said this before in my Zooms, I sell myself. What I mean by when I sell myself is, look, I'm going to work with people. I'm going to work with someone. I'd like to work with you. Let's do this, you see? And, if not, I'll do it with someone else, but I'd like to do it with you. And I know you're busy, but use me. That's what leverage is. Leverage me, use me, you see? And that's one thing I love about this business, you guys, is that you can leverage your time by working with a team of people. Okay. So the whole time thing to me, again, these are excuses. We call them objections, but in the most part, they're excuses. And you're gonna hear them. You're gonna hear them. You see, that's why so few people in real life, so few people ever really change their life, because they just go on doing the same thing over and over and over and over throughout life, and it's not going to change. You have to be the one to initiate that. Do something different. Try something different. Take a chance. What do you have to lose? You see? So again, time, that's how I approach the whole time thing. If I showed you a way that you get more time back, would that interest you? And if they come up with another excuse, look, I get a kick out of it. I think it's honestly kind of fun. People are like, they start shooting bullets at me, I deflect them. All right. And then I come back. And I try not to get into because anytime you get into a bash with someone, that's negative, and you're never going to win with negativity. But I admit, every now and then I've done it just for fun. They don't know me. They don't know, who I am or how much money I make and all that stuff. And it doesn't matter, you see. It's just that I come from a position of strength. Why? Because I've been around this business a bit. In the beginning, many times I didn't know what to say or what to do. All right. But I just kept going. And that's how you learn, by listening to people. Many many people that are here are really good with overcoming objections as well. I'm sure Dr. Ogina is amazing when it comes to objections. All right, so let's talk about another one. I don't have enough money. Again, in my head, I'm thinking, and you're going to go on the rest of your life with not having enough money? Is that any way to enjoy life? Now, I'm not going to tell them that, unless they're a friend of mine, and I can, because you got to be careful. I want to win their friendship. So I would ask them, I'd say, well, a lot of people are making money. I see it. I mean, we have these events, these meetings, and I see with my own eyes. So would you be willing to take a look at how you can make money? You've got nothing to lose. Spend 30 minutes, 60 minutes at the most, just listening to how they're making money. You see, just come and listen. What do you have to lose? So again, my goal is to get them to just come and listen to a presentation. Okay, that's my only goal. From there, then we can answer any questions that they might have. But let me show you how to make money. Would you like, even ask them this, say, well, you don't have any money. So if I showed you how you could build a business with no money, would that be of interest to you? Seriously. Now, if they say no, then at some point you've got to just say next, and move on. All right. Because you can start this business with no money. How? Well, you get them to buy the product first, and then you go ahead and get the product and sell it to them. It can be done through your website. Okay, there's a few ways. I know that in Africa, it might be a little bit more difficult, but you have the websites now in Africa as well. All right. But here in the US or other markets where For Life has a corporate presence, you share your link with someone and they just simply buy the product. You get the life points. So you get the credit for that. And now you can start making some money that way. So you can literally start your business, all right, with no money if you would like. Now, when I talk to people again, and they say they don't have any money, and in my head, I'm thinking, okay, here's a business that you can start with no money or very little money. And I just look at all the benefits, working with a team, everything's in place for you, turnkey operation. You got your website, you got your app, you've got everything in place. You got over 1,000 employees at your beck and call, willing to do things for you, service your people, all these things. And it doesn't cost you anything for those. So that's how I approach people and talk to them. Benefits, 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 benefits that they get. I've been taking traditional herbal products. I don't need your products, and I'm very healthy. Okay, it's wonderful, that you're healthy. When I talk to people, I say, if I were to hear that, I would say, obviously, you understand that the health and wellness industry is a $1 trillion industry. You're one of the consumers of some of the products. It's a huge business, and people are making millions and millions of dollars in this business by leveraging, partnering with the company. Have you heard of For Life? And so again, I try to find a way to just get in there, stick it in there, and then see what they come back with. I almost look at it like playing chess a little bit. They make a move, I make a move, they make a move, I make a move in my conversation. And I find it fun. I honestly find it fun. It happens to me all the time where I meet someone, I talk to them, and sometimes I only get a couple of minutes, because they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. But I actually think it's kind of fun. But the whole, if somebody's using herbal products, I congratulate them. That's awesome, that you're using supplements, taking supplements. But I tell you what, you probably never heard of transfer factor, have you? And so I'll share with them something new, something unique. And if I mention transfer factor and say no, I said, have you heard of borrowed immunity? Did you know we can borrow immune information now and educate our immune systems to recognize, respond to, and remember global threats? Isn't that pretty cool? New technology. And so I try to introduce something new. And that's one thing I love about For Life, you guys. We're not a Me Too company. We don't just have Me Too products, the same as everyone else. We're unique. We've got wonderful, patented, life-changing products. So I'd get in a transfer factor. I'd just mention it right away. If they say, I'm healthy, I take herbal products, I don't need your products. I'd even mention something like, during the pandemic, our business exploded because we're the immune system company, and we have a product that we call borrowed immunity. You can borrow immune information. Again, things that make them curious. I'm okay. Borrow immunity. What do you mean by that? You see, try to come up with something that they will think, wow, that's interesting. Okay, tell me more. I have to speak to my husband or wife first. Now, this is what I would just do, but this is me. Let's do it. All right. I'm glad you said that. I mean, and I would even say something like, I understand, because my wife's the same way. Gabby's the same way. She'd want me to talk to her first. So let's do it. How about, tomorrow or even later this evening? Let's get on a Zoom, or, we can even do a WhatsApp call, whatever you want. But yeah, I'd love to talk to your significant other, your spouse. That's what I do. I talk to people. And now let me say something about this, you guys, because this is really important. This did happen to me a lot in my early days of networking. I got that one. I need to talk to my spouse or whatever. And sometimes it's an excuse, and sometimes it's real. I mean, that's a valid, objection, a valid reason for somebody saying they don't want to, get involved in something. But back when I was doing networking in the early 80s, it was a $5,000 package to start. Well, I understand that anyone that goes and spends $5,000 to start something and doesn't tell their spouse, you're probably going to get shot. All right. So yeah, you want to talk to your spouse, you're going to spend $5,000. But when we're talking a couple $100 to start a business, all right, I understand, but we're not talking, it's not going to break the bank. All right. Put it that way. And so it is true though, if you can get both parties on board, all right, the husband and wife couples in this business are dynamic. When they both see, like you take, J. Michael and Judy, you've all, I don't know if they're on with us here today. I don't see them right now, but J. Michael and Judy, you see husband and wives, and a lot of husband and wives I see involved in the business. It's awesome when you get them both, because like Anderson and his wife, Tatiani, in Brazil. Many of you know Anderson and Tati in Brazil. He's out doing the recruiting side of it, and she's doing the product side of it. But they're doing presentations constantly, separately. In other words, he's got his going on his Zoom, she's got hers going on her Zoom throughout the day. And they got 3 kids, they're young kids that they have to, to raise. So yeah, when I get that about the spouse, I honestly like it. I like that objection. And I would tell someone, I say, you know what, I respect you for that. And I would love to be able to talk to your spouse. When would be a good time? And give them a couple of alternatives. Don't say when would be a good time. And they might say, well, let me talk to her and see. Chances are they may not even get back to you. I just try to say, how about if I give you a call, when you're home later this evening, or I give you a call tomorrow, and then we can hopefully set something up and talk to your spouse. So that's the approach I take. Okay. I react to supplements. I think that's more an excuse than an objection, because that's like saying I react to food. All right. Yeah, some foods you probably do. We got a son that's allergic to shellfish and peanuts. Ryan, our littlest one, right? Doesn't react to all food, but he reacts to that kind of food. So if somebody says I react to supplements, I would honestly say, oh, really? Which ones? Which ones do you react to? Again, I'm a curious person. When somebody says something like that to me, I'd like to know. And if they come up with, and just, you can tell if they're making something up or not. Again, many times it's just an excuse. But if it's a valid, that's a valid objection, they react to supplements. Okay, let's find out which ones you react to, because you know that your health is really important to you. So let's see what we can do to help you. Again, take an interest in them. Okay. I'm not a good salesperson. Oh, Claudia, you put that one. Okay. Okay. Again, to me, that's just an excuse. I'm not asking you to be a salesperson. I want to show you something that could change your life by you simply inviting some people to have a look at it. And I would even ask them, I would say, look, have you ever been to a good movie and recommended it? Have you ever been to a good restaurant and recommended it on Facebook, Instagram? Have you ever traveled somewhere, gone to a city or a park or someplace around the world, and you told people how wonderful it was? Anytime an opinion is shared, that's salesmanship, believe it or not. Whether it's a negative opinion or a positive opinion, anytime you give an opinion, all right, that is salesmanship. Okay. So again, that's someone's mindset. They think you're trying to convert them into being a salesman. Now I understand. Yeah, there is a bit of sales in here, because if someone has an objection, now that's resistance. Some people just don't like resistance, and that's what makes them feel like a salesperson. But if every time they gave an opinion and the person said, "Oh, that was so wonderful. I'm so glad you told me about that. Thank you." And they tell someone else, that person says, "Thank you for telling me. Oh, that's so wonderful. I really appreciate what you said." They don't look at that as sales. All right. So again, it comes down to mindset. All right. When I'm talking to someone and I try to share with them how this really isn't necessarily the sales as you think about sales. All right. But let's start with this. Just try our product. Try the product. You know people that I don't know. And I'm thinking this in my head. You know people I don't know. We're not going to judge anybody. Let them decide. And by the way, did you guys know that there's a lot of companies out there with the people that manage the company aren't good salespeople? You know, one of those people is David Lisenby. David Lisenby is not a salesperson. All right. He's very different than us. Okay. He is more a researcher, a developer, an administrator. Knows how to admit, David Lisenby, if I were to say what his biggest strength is, he knows how to find good people. He surrounds himself with great people, great scientists, great COOs and CFOs and CSOs. That's chief operating officers and chief scientific officers and chief executive officers. David's good at that, you see. But to actually go out and to try to market transfer factor like we do, And Danny Lee's the same way. All right. Wonderful people. And we're blessed to have them do what they do, because they do it very, very, very well. So they do what they do well, and we do what we do well, and that makes for a great formula. But you can have a business, an organization, a network, and you might not be the person that's out doing all the selling all the time. There are people in For Life I see that are bronzes or even a few golds. They just happen to know some good people, got them to come to the table. And let me give you one that I look at this way. Many might know Sherry Din. Sherry Din got involved in For Life, and she's a dynamic person. But Sherry, she spent probably 2 years in her building her network, supporting her people. She had Fazli and throughout Singapore and Indonesia, even Dr. Edward, some of these people that were more of the out and about networker types. Sherry had to take care of her mother. Her mother was dying. So for like 2 years, she took care of her mom, stayed home. And she did all the administrative stuff for her team. She was putting together flyers and pamphlets. And a lot of this was back in the day before we even had the telephone apps and stuff like that. So there's a place for you in building this business, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. You don't have to be a salesperson, but I'll tell you, no one's a salesperson. We learn to be a salesperson. All right. No one's born that way. We learn how to market. We learn how to sell. We learn how to build. It's a learned process. I'll consult with my doctor first. I would ask the person, do you have a particular condition? If you have to consult with your doctor, I can't imagine you consult with your doctor if you're going to eat a piece of chocolate. All right. Unless you're allergic to it. So again, in my head, I'm thinking, you need to consult with your doctor. Is that an excuse or a valid objection? So I'd ask the person, whoa, do you have any type of condition? And then listen to them, take an interest in them. Again, if you know our products, if you know a bit about For Life, when somebody throws something at you, like they might say, well, I can't have any creatine. Yeah, I react to creatine, or I react to whey. There's a good one, whey. Somebody might say, you know what? Whey products tend to, upset my stomach. Okay, well, that means we'll avoid Pro-TF right now then. No worries, because I know there's whey in Pro-TF. Okay, so, but let's look at some of the other products. Transfer factor. You can take transfer factor. Anybody can. All right, it's a messenger molecule. So I, again, take an interest in that person. And then I try to become a friend of theirs and then try to win their trust. And the only way you win someone's trust is by working with them, letting them, answering their phone call, letting them know, you're there to help them, support them. In other words, you want them to succeed as much as they do. And you show that through your actions, your effort. Okay. So that's the way I approach the doctor thing, and you guys, all of these, by the way, again, very quickly, you can filter through and find out if it's just an excuse or if it's a valid objection. Okay. Let's see here. My doctor said I should not mix medication with others. I've gotten that one. All right. And I would just simply say, okay, do you take any supplements at all? And some people say, no, I don't. And I would just simply say, well, supplementation is very important, these days. You just don't get everything you need in your fruits and vegetables and so forth. So, I would encourage you, but you know what? Great. Let's talk to this is the way I think. Let's talk to your doctor. I'll talk to your doctor. Bring your doctor to the table. All right. I have no problem talking to a doctor. I talk to doctors all the time. Okay. A lot of doctors really do believe in good nutrition. All right. I know they may not have been trained in taking nutrition classes, but they believe in nutrition. So, but the whole doctor thing, sometimes that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, they're telling you they got to go talk to this doctor and who knows when it's going to happen. All right. But I still just try to converse with them for a minute or two and find out if they're just really making an excuse or if it's a valid objection. That's what I would do. How long will it take to work? I get that one once in a while, and I just say, well, again, we're talking product now. Claudia's talking product. I just simply say everyone's different, but I can tell you this: I see people react, using our products. They have positive results very, very quickly within a few days, and then I see some people it takes a couple of 3 months. It depends on how long it took for you to get to where you are with your condition. In other words, if you've had this condition that you're dealing with for years and years and years, nothing's going to turn it around overnight. It might take a month or two. Give it a try. You've got nothing to lose. Why not try? Would you like to overcome your challenge, your physical challenge, your health challenge? Would you like to overcome that? Let's try. Let me suggest this. And again, by taking an interest in that person, a genuine interest, they tend to listen. All right. And you'll find out real quick because look, if I had a condition and I've had it for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and I've been suffering from it, and somebody brings something to the table that gives me hope, something that within maybe a month or two, I could see results. Heck yeah, I'm going to try it. I mean, look at that, 4 or 5 years compared to a couple months. Yeah. So again, approach it by taking an interest in them. All right. Can you really make money with this kind of business? Look, this is what I would say. I'd say, you know what? Documentation beats conversation. I can talk to you all day long, but let's take a look at some of these people. And I'd pull out my app and I would show them people from Ecuador, Bolivia, Korea, just around the world, different countries. Look at all these people. They're bronzes and golds and platinums. Yeah, they're making money because they see an opportunity and they believe. So if you believe, and I can show you this opportunity where you can see it, yeah, you can make a lot of money. There's people that get on these Zoom calls, i.e. me and Gabie, make a lot of money in this business. We do, you see. So I would tell them this: how about if I introduce you to someone that is making a lot of money and they're showing us how they're making a lot of money? Come and take a look. Got nothing to lose. Again, that's the approach I would take. Show them. Documentation beats conversation. So you do have Red Bull in Kenya. Thanks, Florence, for putting that down. Go price out Red Bull and compare it to your Energy Go sticks. When it comes to transfer factor, you can't compare transfer factor to anything else. All right. How many people died of COVID? I don't know. I don't know what the deaths were in Kenya, but I'm sure someone died in Kenya of COVID. How many people suffered from COVID? So, I would show them, I would say, look, borrowed immunity. What's the value of it? What's the value of protecting yourself from a threat? Or if you want to even say, I wouldn't say this on the internet, but if I'm talking to someone, I would say, look, there's a lot of serious diseases out there. And if I showed you something that actually can educate your immune system to protect you, would you be interested? So that's the pro. And I like to, like I said, I asked a lot of questions to people. Would you be interested? And then let them come back. All right. Yeah, documentation beats conversation. So you guys, we've been on for an hour, but that's the approach I take. And in the end, let me say this. It is a numbers game, meaning that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in For Life, in our company and our products, and interested in changing their financial position in life. A lot of people. You were some of those people. That's why you're here today. There's people just like you and me out there. So I look at my job really as finding these people. And to find these people, not everyone is going to be one of those people. Again, this is how I think. Okay. So by me thinking this way, I'm prepared. When I talk to someone and they're not ready, they're not one of those people yet. Talk to someone else and they're not ready, they're not one of those people yet. And so I just keep scouting those people. Okay. And I find it simple because I don't stress over it. I have no problem, sharing information with someone. I do all this. In fact, last night at the concert, the lady sitting next to us, all right, start talking to her. They drove down from another city to see the concert. And she says, because somehow the subject came up with the band. And I said, yeah, I know the band members, we know them. Gabie and I know them. My family knows them. And she said, oh yeah. And I said, she said, how's that? And I said, well, I said, first of all, I knew the founder of the band a few years ago, but also they use our supplements. They use our products. Gabie McLean. See, I don't know if I told you guys this, but Gabie McLean, her husband, Aaron, if you look up Aaron McLean on the internet, he's the lead guitarist, but he's played lead guitar for Jennifer Lopez and, all kinds of people all around the world. But Aaron McLean, his wife is Gabie. All right. They used, remember, our supplement for the Woman King and all that. So that's where the conversation went. So I'm telling this lady last night about how, they use our supplements and the Woman King, and Gabie's a trainer. And so that's how it's just natural, simple conversation. Okay. And that's how I approach things, you guys, from a point or a place of simplicity. Keep it simple and stupid. All right. Simple conversations, take an interest in that person, but be prepared to come back when they have some sort of objection or excuse. That's all. Let me tell you, and I'll finish just saying this. The more you do this, the better you get, like anything, you see. So the more objections that are thrown at you by someone, or people out there, wonderful, because you're going to learn how to overcome those better and better and better and better. And pretty soon you'll be talking to someone and you'll be the one that will convince, I'll use the word convince this time, because they might have kept thinking that this is a pyramid. And you happen to be the one to explain something to them that it's not a pyramid. Or they might say something like, they don't understand network marketing as business. And so they start thinking, oh, I got to go get all these people and go get them to sell for me. No, you don't. Let me explain how this works. And you're the one that explains to them how this business really works. And you sign them up. You see, everybody in our industry or in our business, okay, was introduced to it by someone else. Everyone. Nobody said when they were young and they were asked by an elderly person, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'm going to be a network marketer. No, they were introduced by someone, just like you were. Okay. We just have to continue that concept. That's all we do. Continue that concept, continue sharing, and just continue scouting and finding people, and welcome the objections, because as they come to you and you get better and better and better overcoming them, trust me, pretty soon it becomes natural and you're like a duck in water. The water just rolls off your back. So anyhow, I'll turn it back over to you, Claudia. Thanks, you guys. You'd have J. Michael with us here now.
Yes.
Thanks for joining everyone. Hopefully I've given some insight on how you can overcome some of these objections or excuses, but thank you.
Wow, everybody, big hearts. Thank you, Anna, and a big round of applause with those emojis. Very good. So what a great training. You could hear him for hours with all those overcoming objections, right? Gabie also had a good one that we forgot to comment, which was the would you if I. So Gabie had that one and we forgot that one. Gabie, would you answer back to me if I shared this video with you? Because she always, I remember Gabie always teaching me that one. So that's it for today. Thank you for being here, taking the time for your business and learning from the greatest mentors of all. And remember, tomorrow we have Health Talk. But there's more meetings in all languages. For the English, remember for the African and Eastern Hemisphere, we have next level training Wednesdays. And Wednesday evenings for the Western Hemisphere, we have in the evening with the English team of North America. So check the calendar for that. And the other we have added the Telegram group for reminders. We have added the Facebook group, which is also mainly for reminders, but you can also post some of your things. Like I see Dr. Quack daily. He's not daily. I think it's weekly. He posts his live. He's such a great example of discipline. This man, great example, always posting his lives, 3, 5, 10 minutes of knowledge. So that's great. And if you haven't got your ticket for convention, make sure you get your virtual ticket for convention. So most of the ones that are already going have their visas, have their bag, have everything ready. But if you haven't, you can go virtual, you can go on Zoom. So make sure you get that ticket. It's $49. And we'll be missing you, but we're going to have a lot of fun. And I'm sorry for those of you that can't go, but make sure that you sign up and register for virtual.
Yeah, Claudia, excuse me, just to let everyone know, visas have been extremely difficult all over, not just in Kenya or South Africa, but all over the world, trying to get a visa. The process is it takes months and months and months. Even if you can get in there. So I just want to let you guys know that if you thought, well, we had a hard time getting a visa, you're not the only one. It's very, very difficult.
So with that, next week we have the power of I'm sorry, I forgot our title, Dave. The power of networking. No, oh my goodness. 1 second, it's very important. So next week on Mentor Monday, the system of networking. So make sure you're on time because we're already 10 minutes late. And this is what happens when we come in 10 minutes late. So please, this one is Dave's, this is going to be the last one for Dave this month. And then we go to convention. And then the next one is not Dave, it's me with updates from the convention. And then we get Dave again. So make sure that you come on time and with a guest that has a business mindset, because Dave is going to be talking and closing this chapter with the system of networking. So don't miss that one next Monday on Mentor Monday. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Gabie. And we'll see you all next week for Mentor Monday. Bye-bye.
Let's unmute everybody. Unmute everyone. Let's just make some noise. All right.
And make sure you guys bring more people on these Zoom calls. Otherwise, they're just a powwow meeting that we would have at work.
Yes. Make sure to bring a guest.
Thank you very much.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you, Gabie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.